So upon some further consideration, I think I have a little bit different plan for the layout. We'll get to that in just a second. They did get the last of the floor heat in. I'll walk over there right now. As you can see, this is the spot that wasn't done. So next step is our reinforcement. Not sure if it's going to be like rebar or if it's going to be like a mesh, like a steel mesh, but it's some sort of a steel, obviously reinforcement for the reinforced concrete. What we'll have is in the same design as this, is an enclosure out to here and then to there. We'll have our utility room in here and our bathroom right here. We're going to have a shower, a toilet, and then there's going to be a sink on the inside of here that'll tie into this. But this will also be the sink for out here. We're going to do an outside sink for the shop, so we can wash our hands or when they're dirty or parts or whatever we need to do. Then we'll have like a cleaner sink inside the bathroom that we can use. So that's how that'll look. Probably have a door like this. Then we'll have a door over here. And they left that extra pipe on there. I'm assuming that's for more channels, in case we ever wanted to put like a heat register somewhere specific. We may get to do that. We may do that. We may not. It depends on how well it stays warm. Right now, it's not heated. It's literally wow, it's totally whited out. You can see the snow on the floor. It's literally a snowstorm. And it's honestly really nice in here. I would totally set up a cot and sleep in the corner away from the windows. And honestly, I don't think it's that bad. It feels really nice in here. So the insulation is obviously pretty amazing. It's amazing what it does, but we do have our weather barrier on too. So not only is it insulated, it is, have our vapor barrier on the wall, plus the steel holding 2 layers of steel holding the heat in. So basically our main leaks are obviously going to be filled up when the cement goes in on the lower portion. And then our doors, which of course the cement will be, occupying. So I think we're in pretty good shape in that way. It's a good ways over there. There's a lot of room here. So what I am thinking is the correct thing to do upon standing here and thinking about it for a while. I think we're going to put the fridge. I think I mentioned in a video I was thinking about having over where our workstation is going to be. I think I'm going to make just a little teeny kitchen corner right here. So we're going to have our shop sink. And then maybe we'll have like a kitchen countertop in an L shape and maybe some cabinets over top. We have extra from stuff. We don't need to buy it. That way we have like a real kitchen. In here we'll have a stove. We'll have natural gas here. So it'll be, being that we'll have a natural gas hooked up right here, it'd be easy to run a natural gas line to here. If we do that, or we could do an electric one. Whatever it is, I think it'd be nice to be able to cook, food in here. We'll have a countertop to be able to prepare some stuff. Obviously, I'm sorry I feel so close. I'm trying to walk in the most, logical place to avoid the tubes. There was a nice little channel right there I was walking in, but I see it was a little far away here. So I think we're going to have the fridge somewhere like right here. So we'll have kind of like a mini kitchen set up right here. So that way we can prepare food if we need to, or more likely cook wild game. We could, in theory, dehydrate, meat. I like to smoke it, but you could also dehydrate it, of course, make jerky, or sausages, or whatever the heck you're doing. So I think we're going to move anything kitchen-y related to right here, since we're already going to have a portion marked out. And this will be kind of a vacuum if you think about it, because we got a wall right here, and right here over is going to be really hard to use for anything, so we may as well use it. So I'm thinking we're going to have that over in this direction. And because that'll be a cleaner portion of the whole shop. Hold on, guys. I'm going to back up again. I'm kind of pinching you guys off in the operation here. I'm standing too close. So if we have our kitchen sort of right here, 10-foot-ish of kitchen, I think we're going to have a hunting, camping, some shelving right here so I can put my hunting, camping related gear and stuff. This will be kind of the cleaner section right here because we'll have food. So I think I'm going to have a nice little set of storage place to put tents and whatever miscellaneous nonsense. Keep coolers and that kind of thing ready to go. because it'd be as simple as pulling in and loading it up. One of the considerations that I'd like to keep in mind is I was initially thinking about putting the fridge there and then having a counter right there to protect that. So all that manifold would be behind and inside of a counter, like a kitchen cabinet, and cut the back out of it so you can easily access that. But I'm thinking right there about putting kind of a flexible, like a table we can use it anything for. What I'm thinking is if I can find like a stainless table, we can use it for butchering animals, and we can also use it for butchering animals as in deer, rabbits, goose, ducks, wild game. Or we could use it to put things, need be, parts, miscellaneous nonsense. I'm thinking because it would make most sense to come in here after going hunting and put, after gutting it, put a fresh kill there. It would make, I think, the most sense. And we could have a little counter there. It would protect that manifold. And we could use it for anything from, like I said, cleaning animals by putting, either a new sheet on top or just disinfecting it every single time. And then we could also put whatever nonsense we needed to put there. And that leaves kind of this area right here open. I had initially intended it to be a place for just general open area parking, whatever, lawnmower, tractor, mini. I'm not sure there's going to be enough room here for the mini, but so kitchen, perhaps some hunting and camping storage, and then, some open area, and then a place to, a counter to have some wild game related things. So that way I can handle that stuff close to the kitchen to wash it, or, kitchen area. One of the things that I don't know where I want to put it yet, well, two things: the air compressor and the parts washer. Those are two things that are used often, but for different operations. And we definitely want to keep the parts washer away from welding and away from food. So what I'm thinking this is going to be kind of the machining department right here. We have our 2 car lifts right here, and what is the most likely thing to need a machine for? A mechanical project. So what I'm thinking is in the future, when I can snag a lathe in a Bridgeport, or similar, doesn't have to be a Bridgeport, Millport, whatever vertical mill I can find, I think they're going to live over here by the second window. The first window, I'm going to have a workbench so I can work on chainsaws there and just general, if I need to rebuild carburetor, take things apart, T-case, whatever, in theory a transmission, but I'm not a transmission, expert. And also in that general area, I can build engines and stuff like that. We'll keep that section really clean, the counter really clean. It'll be for taking apart things that are immediately going back together. But anyway, we have our main big power coming up right here. So this wall will be electrified with big, 223 phase, and same with that wall. So this is gonna be the welding department over here. So welding fab related things will go over here. Anything to fabricate with, we'll probably bring the steel rack that we have over here, and we'll store steel over in that area. And we'll have the welding over here, so I can fabricate things, as well as fix vehicles, because the vehicles will be right here in theory, or right here and right here. This bay right here, we could park a vehicle if we were working on it immediately, or if it just needed to be out of the rain, snow, whatever, to dry off. One consideration that we had initially talked about, and it fell through, and I'm not really sure why it fell through. We were going to have some sort of a drain in the floor to be able to wash things inside. That kind of fell through, and I'm not really sure why. I think it might be because of the heated floor. It would be unwieldy and be another place for the ground to crack and whatever, and I'm not really against it. Washing things inside of a building, you're just going to get everything else dirty. So I would much rather pull it outside and power wash it, let it dry outside, pull it back in. We'd initially talked about putting one under here so the boat could drip off when we bring it back in. But again, it didn't happen. And I don't really have a reason why, and I'm not really sure. I'm considering the concern of these things in the ground and the foam. I'm assuming that's the main reason that kind of got finagled. It got brought up initially when we were kind of designing the building, was to have, drains in the floors. And it got pitched. and it got swept under the rug. And I guess I didn't really follow up and ask anybody why it got swept under the rug. My assumption is because it's us choosing to go with this floor and choosing to go with the heated floor. It would become a point of cracking or just an annoyance to run the pipes and to make the cement harden properly with the foam there too, because the foam would have to be cut away to obviously have a drain go through. We don't have any drains, and to be honest with you, considering what we're going to use this building for, which will be fabricating stuff and building things, I really don't know that we need to have water being sprayed around in here. And it's really not that hard I could easily make a pad outside, which is probably what I'll do. And it may even be a cement pad in the future, right outside one of these doors, or potentially right in the middle of this door or something, or maybe directly outside both doors, is to pour my own pad with reinforcement and with a water drain that I can drain away from the building. The other idea that has been brought up is, do I make a inspection area slash power washing area where you'd have two raised, either you could do it out of cinder block, concrete, whatever, but you have a channel in the middle so that all the stuff will fall out. If you have something that's super duper dirty, I think that might be one of their concerns, was you can't really wash anything super duper dirty because you're just going to end up with mud, or in the worst case, the other concern could be, a code violation thing of washing grease and stuff down the drain. We obviously don't want to have grease in our farm field. We don't want to have grease by our animals, dogs, oils. So sometimes farms have like an inspection pit slash power washing pit where they can power wash off their tractor. They pull the tractors right up onto the raised two-wheeled wide, wheel width for a tractor wide or truck or whatever. And then they can get underneath it, power wash it, and all the crap can fall down. And then you can clean it out later. Perhaps you have a specific, tool that you use to clean out. One of the things you could build would be like a bucket that was shaped like this, so that you could drive a tractor over top of it and scour out the stuff in between. So if, let's say, you had a 3-foot wide hole in the middle, you would have a 3-foot wide, goofy shaped bucket that would reach down into the hole, scoop it out as you drove through, bucket up and peel it away. That is definitely an option, one that I'm considering. Several farms around me, have a wash area like that where they can scoop the mud out from on the inside. Because inevitably you're going to fill up. If you just have a little teeny 3-inch drain, it doesn't take very much mud to screw that up. So I'm wondering if it got poo-pooed, because it's kind of not a good idea for anything besides like soapy water or just water. On the off chance you have any mud that falls down into it, my assumption is you're going to have a really hard time. People who have a power washing, business like a car wash, the removal of mud is a major issue that they have to deal with, especially here in the country where we have dirt roads. So those are some considerations that haven't come to fruition. And that's okay, I think, because I'm pretty happy with the way this is laid out. I think I'd rather have an inspection deal outside or a pad to wash things on. I think I'd rather have that. Or as simply as washing it out without a drain and just simply taking the power washer afterwards and spraying the mud off the ground. That's another option, like a cement option. If I did pour a pad in front of these two doors, basically like 60 wide by 25 foot or something like that, and then it would have cement across the whole front of this. And I could make it so I could pull something in from this direction, so that something that's 60 foot long could get washed off too. That's also an option. Now, the only, you might be saying, well, why the heck do you need to have that in the first place? Well, if you're power washing something off on the ground, sometimes your wand will hit the ground, and then you'll just spray mud and dirt off the ground. It'll go right back onto what you're power washing. So having a clean surface to clean on, if that makes any sense, it's something to consider. The thing is, in here, we're probably going to be doing, painting of implements, tractors, old tractors, fixing up stuff. I don't really know that I want to have water flying around this place. All it's going to do is get dirty, and I think it's unnecessary. So, and I think the biggest consideration is because we have the heated floor, that maybe the drains aren't such a hot idea. Whatever the case may be, if you're If you're a heating and cooling specialist and you have an opinion on that, I would love to hear it so future people can have some information to make a choice with. My assumption is somebody made a choice outside of my control. I haven't had too much contact with our heating and cooling people. I don't actually know even who's doing it. My barn builder subcontracted, and it's one of those things where I guess I never really demanded to have it told who's doing it. And you know what? I'm sure he mentioned it, and it just kind of went over my head because it wasn't necessarily important at the time. So I guess what I'm getting at is that would be one. I mean, I've asked so many questions. I've gotten myself involved in so much of this. But one of the things that I didn't really get myself involved in was the heating and cooling aspect, and then the floor, because the cement contractor is doing that, and the heating and cooling people are heating the floor. So those are two avenues that I guess maybe I didn't ask the right questions or the right, or ensure that I got the right answers to whatever questions I asked. So if you're considering this project, it might be something you might consider diving a little deeper in to make sure that you're fully aware of what's going on. So yeah, I'm not really, like, it would be, it almost seems like it would be wrong to take this really nice, homogeneous floor and have a channel cut through it and an archaic drain that could crack over time. I mean, everyone's seen a drain in an older building or a shop that looks like crap. That very well might be the answer. I'm probably over worrying about it, but I part of this is making sure that whatever experiences that I have are passed along, so that when you guys do your own, you ask the right questions and perhaps learn from any mistake that I made. Like I said, I think I'd rather have an inspection area outside so I can get underneath, like a trench that I can crawl underneath something and check and see how it's doing, with the machine safely over top of me. Instead of being on jack stands, which are notoriously dangerous, to have the tires fully on something that's lifting the machine up. I think I'd rather go that route anyway. So in hindsight, probably not such a big deal. But now that I'm looking at the floors, one of the things I thought about in here, I'm like, I guess we don't really have any drains, and I don't remember hearing any, follow-up on that. So yeah, this is kind of the arrangement that they did. Some of them are running horizontally, some of them are running this way. As you can see, these are run this way. I don't really know how much it matters. It probably has more to do with just the fluid flow, making sure that it's a logical path and the distance is the similar for each of them, so that we don't have a channel working harder than another channel. So one portion's hotter than the other. I'm sure that that's a consideration. So yeah, I think we're getting there. You guys are getting some additional thoughts. And I guess sometimes I forget what I say already. It's 7 foot on center from here, here to the wall. And it's 14 foot on center from the middle, again, on center, the middle, to the wall. We're 14 foot across for all of them. And so this is one car lift right here. This one is one that we already own. Hold on, guys. I'm going to turn. I'm sorry. I'm tipping the phone around now. I promise I'll get to a more static position here in a second. 120 inches, center to center. I'm sorry, 127 for this one. 127 center to center, and then 120 center to center. They're 3 foot by 3 foot squares so that we can't really miss it. As you can see, the heated floor is ducted around it. So in theory, we'll be very safe on sending lag bolts through for our lifts. And like I said, we got 7 foot here. My theory was, if I slide over here, plenty of room to walk through, plenty of room to take something through. If we ever wanted to put a piece of equipment in the corner, we can. Another theory on this was, obviously, if you've seen a 2-post car lift, you can take the legs and put them in, like this. So in theory, the total width of this will probably be, in its most folded position, approximately the edge of the 3 foot. So we'd have, probably 13 feet of another bay right here. So we'd have 100 foot worth of run here if we ever needed to use it for something specific. So if we didn't have anything on the lift, we could pull things in this way. So these things do stick out in the floor a little bit, but when they're stowed, they really don't take up much room, considering you could park 60-foot long. Whoopsies. Dropped my phone. Considering you could park 60-foot long here, or 60-foot long here, which is in line with that door, more or less. It's not perfectly in line, so you guys with OCD are probably going to freak out about that. We'll get to that in a second. We have 6 foot on center here, there, to there. And my theory was with the lift here, we would likely be able to wheel a tool cart through, or like a transmission jack with a transmission on it, or an engine stand. We could wheel something through with the 6 foot on center, leaving probably 4.5 foot, a wheelable area in the middle. Most tool benches, like rolling tool chests, are like 3 foot wide, 3 1/4. Some could be even 24, 28 inches, so less than 3 foot. So my theory was we could wheel something down the middle. Now this was put off to the side. Don't worry about that, just stepping on foam. I didn't step on the tube. This is slightly off center, and it was done for a reason, because this door will feed this lift and that lift. And we can easily get to the bay next to it. If you think of this as being another bay, this would be kind of my welding bay, welding fabricating bay, which also is accessible via that door. So we have a way to pull a vehicle in here. And also in theory, we'd probably work on 3 or 4 vehicles in a row here. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to work on that much at the same time, but it opens up the door. So that door would be able to feed obviously all this. And also keep in mind, there's at least, you could work on at least 2 pickup trucks there, and probably 3 cars in a row. And this is a 14-foot wide door. You could probably put literally 4 cars. Whoopsies. Sorry, my hands are all over the place here. Easily put 4 cars like this, maybe more. So there's plenty of room to work in here, even with these things sitting here. And like I said, it would not be hard to back a trailer through here, as you can see. So, or back a trailer, pull a truck in, whatever you need to do. My TIG welder is going to live over here in our big miller. It's a stick welder, but it's not. It's got a wire feeder, so it's set up to be a MIG welder, and it works awesome. We got it tuned in, so that old beast, it's like a 1978 or something like that. It's actually got a GM part number on it, because GM had it at an assembly line for a long time. Before we got it, it's an awesome unit. So the TIG welder and the big MIG will live over here, so we can do heavy stuff. We'll probably have a welding table over here, and we have a wheeled welding table. It's got like a 1/2-inch deck on it. So there's plenty of room to work. I would love to make or buy like a layout table that you can actually set up things on. That'd be pretty cool to put over here, but I'd need to, well, I guess you could use a like forklift or something to move it, but definitely would want to make it movable. As I mentioned, over here will probably be steel storage, and then, enough room to park something out of the way over here. I'm hoping to leave this side of it more or less open to work, and then this side we can put things, need be more immobile things. But I'd like to leave this portion over here open to weld, at least the 10-foot bay that's right here. So, sorry, I'm wheeling my phone around again. I'm trying to do it slow. Or, excuse me, it's 11-foot bay. So that's 11-foot wall right there. So in theory, this is like an 11-foot bay. I'd like to leave this more open for fabricating. And if there's something parked along here, so be it, because we can bias it over to the side, but at least, we're getting the most out of it. So trying to put as much thought into this as I can. I haven't decided where I want to put the parts washer. In theory, the parts washer should really go over by the machining operations over here, and also the rebuilding operation, the table that I'd like to rebuild things. So the parts washer will probably live over here, more than far enough away from the welder. Not that we've ever had a problem, but it's always a good idea to keep some distance from welding sparks to a parts washer, because it's literally full of hydrocarbons that burn. So, and as for the air compressor, it's been discussed about putting in the corner, because that would be dead space. However, that would take away from your, driving in like this. I don't know. We'll figure that out. I was also tempted to put it inside of the what you call it, thing over there, the utility closet kind of thing. That's another option. We could also put it, you know, right along the door right there. You know, kind of be a heavy barrier to protect, you know, that. So it might be a good dead space to put it right there. Anytime you kind of have like a draw coming through is probably a bad place to put it, where you have something I'm kind of calling it like a vacuum. Like you've got a wall that's going to be right here, an 8-foot wall. So this bay right here is kind of dead space, so it might be a good spot to put it. Now, I know I said about putting the table there. Then again, that's a long way away from where we'd actually use it, so maybe it'd be best to put, you know, right over here where the power junction box is going to be, maybe tucked in right here, but then again, it's going to cut into there. We'll figure it out. Another option might be this corner, because this is really dead space over here. We could put it over here. Probably be a good spot for the air compressor right over here. We could have maybe a store, because I got so close again on you guys, I'm sorry. Back up a little bit. Could have it in the corner right there, and then we could have, you know, maybe some storage over here or something like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Trying to think about what tools we use the most at the shop and how we bring it over into here. So for you guys that are looking to do something like this, I'm sure you probably found this interesting. If you didn't find it interesting, you're probably not trying to set up a shop for being productive, and that's totally okay. So I appreciate anybody who did view the content. If I lost you early, well, I guess you're not hearing this right now, are you? But I try to keep it real. I'm not making the YouTube channel to, I don't know, fake that I'm useful. I guess I just kind of share what I do every day, or on days that I have time to do this. I'm just kind of, sorry, my phone just got mad at me at 20% here. I just kind of keep it real as what I do. So I guess I'm not, you guys know what I'm talking about. The YouTube channels that are specifically designed for a specific entertainment value. My main goal here is I get on YouTube to learn. Maybe some of you get onto YouTube to learn. And in my case, I'm sharing things that I've either learned the hard way, or I'm trying to learn, or I'm in the process of learning. So it's kind of the goal. I enjoy teaching and that sort of thing. So I guess this isn't really teaching. This is just out loud communication about what we're thinking about doing and how we're going to utilize the space. So if you have a farm, or you have you have hobbies that you need to fabricate, maybe you're an off-roader or something like that, these are kind of the considerations you might have to think about when setting up your metal shop that also might be able to do other things. You know, work on vehicles and maybe do some woodworking here and there. So it's kind of the thoughts we're tossing around and whatnot. So I appreciate anybody who's taken the time to watch, and maybe this is useful. If you have any questions, or if you have, a link to your shop that you've set up that I haven't seen, or you don't think that I've seen, post a link to your shop setup on in your comment so that I and others can see it. That'd be cool. There's no wrong answer here. It's really about what you do and what kind of space you have. This is 60 by 100, so we have to work within the walls of 60 by 100 that has a bathroom and has, in the future, a kitchen. So there's constraints that we have to worry about, but I think we're going to have plenty of room. This main work bay over here is the way I kind of think of it, is we got 60 by 60 for storage, and we got 40 by 60 for work. And if I can get away with having, whatever 11 minus 60 is, 49. If I can get away with 49 by 60 for storage, and I can get away with 40 by 60 and then my back wall of 11 foot back here for fabricating, then I'll be one happy boy. So go from there, and we'll do another video as we get cement in here, or maybe as we get the mesh. We're at kind of a waiting game here because of the snowstorm. I think that's why the cement people aren't here doing it, doing our reinforcement mesh. We'll get there, and we'll take you along for the ride as we have. Refer back to the other videos of this. If you are a new viewer of the channel, there's a whole series of videos of this building going up. So lots of interesting content, and I really can't believe that I'm walking around inside of it and staying warm in a snowstorm. This is pretty awesome. So thank you all for tuning in, and feel free to leave any questions or recommendations. I'm trying to take, one gentleman gave a recommendation that I moved my hand too much. I know I just did there. I'm trying, but most YouTubers are not, cinematography experts, and I certainly am not. And I'm not trying to make a Hollywood movie. I'm trying to document what's going on, so I try and do the best I can. Sometimes it takes walking around, and some people are walkers like I am. So just kind of move around, pan around. That's kind of how it is. So I apologize if my content is upsetting you or something, but I'm doing my best. I'm trying to do the best that I can. And when we get, maybe we can set up like a studio in here so I can sit still for once, and we can talk about projects that way instead of me using my phone. So that'll be kind of a next step for the channel, and I appreciate all you 223 people who have subscribed. That really blows my mind. So thank you all. Thank you to everybody who watches my content and whatnot. So thank you for tuning in. This is where we're at. Next video will be where we're at next, obviously. Have a great day.